So this is an addition done afterwards to the summer pruning video, because when I looked at it, there was just too much greenery around. We were doing the right thing. We were pruning in the summer to keep the tree smaller, and I explained the reasons why you might want to do that. But because there was so much general greenery, it was quite hard to distinguish what was what. We're now in our next door neighbours. This tree here, see that scabby one there, Nick? This is Newton Wonder. Normally it's a really good biennial dual purpose apple, but for this year their Newton Wonder's got a lot of scab. What we're doing though is making this tree smaller and lower. See where I've put the tape there? That's where we would cut. Obviously I'm not going to cut next door's trees. If you go back, Nick, you see we're cutting that upright bit there so that the growth will then grow outwards. We could also do a little cut where my knife is there to push that growth outwards so that the tree is flatter. And as we know, also flatter branches are more fruitful. If we go round this side, Nick, this is very typical of a tree. We've got this big upright stuff up the middle. Any fruit in the middle will get less light, so there won't be such good fruit. There won't be as much photosynthesis going on. So if we cut this big branch here, this big upright branch where my tape is, it will force the vigor outwards and more flatter. And that's what we're trying to do. Reduce the vigor of the tree by summer pruning, also making it flatter, more fruitful. When we cut here, you can see there's a thick trunk, if you like, a tube going up, and all that sap going up will try to get into this small tube. So there will be an increase in turgor pressure, an increase in sap pressure at this point here. If the smaller of the two branches is less than a third of the bigger one, which it is in this case, you will inevitably, because of all this excess sap coming up, you will get lots of growth in the spring, lots of water shoots. And in one of the pruning videos, it explains that rather than cut those water shoots off, we twist them, not rip them out. What's it called, Nick? We twist them and pull them, and they come out rather than leave a stump, and that means they heal over much quicker. There's another one. Well done, Nick. Go get in. There's another one here. This upright branch here. Again, we'll get rid of that. Sorry, Nick, can you see? Yeah. We'll get rid of this branch here. Get rid of it because it's all inside the canopy and it's upright, it's too high. There's an old one that someone's cut off for some reason in the past, and that should obviously be cleaned up. The things, when you get a change in diameter, increased pressure here, increased sap pressure, increased turgor pressure they call it, all these shoots, these water shoots, these water sprouts coming up, the word I forgot, we whip them out, we pull and twist, and it pulls them off, and that heals over nice and quickly. Any more, Nick?
A few things in the centre.
Yeah.
Run that way. You're facing the sun, want to go around.
No, that's all right. I think we've done it.
Okay.
So that I think we can see. It was a bit more obvious looking into this tree because it was a much sparser foliage, much less denser canopy. So hopefully you can see now what we're going to do with the rest of the video on one of my trees where we actually cut it. Thanks, Nick. Dear boys, Chris Pembonk. Welcome to Pembonk. This little video we will call something like summer pruning, then in brackets reduction of tree size. To reduce the size of a tree, we prune in the summer, because in the summer the canopy, these branches and all these little leaves are still full of sap. So if we remove some of this tree now, some of this canopy now, we're throwing away the lifeblood, the sap of the tree. If we did it in the winter, when the little leaves have fallen off, when the sap would have gone down into the root system, if we hack this tree then, in the spring, when that same volume of sap comes up, we will get lots and lots of growth. You would end up with a tree like that one there. Can you point there, Sarah? See that one with lots and lots of growth? That tree there with lots and lots of growth, that's what we don't want, unless of course, as in my case, we're trying to produce graft wood. So this tree we want to reduce in size and keep it small, so we summer prune it, and there's many reasons for it. For example, perhaps someone gave you the tree as a present and you didn't know what rootstock it was grafted on and it's got too big. Maybe your life has changed. I want to reduce the size of this thing here because South is over there, and over there I've been clearing these bushes.
Well, sort of.
I've been clearing these bushes and where I'm going to put some solar panels. So I'll now want to reduce the height of this tree. If you're a little old man, not like me of course, if you're a little old man, you might want the tree flatter, lower, so that it's easier to pick the fruit. Some varieties, especially like some of my rare Welsh ones, no one knows anything about them. So some of them will grow bigger than the average, others will have a more upright growth habit. So again, you might want to reduce the size of the tree. So we always do that with summer pruning. First thing we do, we'll get our little knives out and we will mark the branches. Sarah's knife.
He nicked my knife.
Yes. We will use Sarah's penknife here to mark the branches. If we look at the tree, you come a bit closer, Sarah. I don't know whether you can hear this. If we look at the tree, come in here. So we're trying to reduce the height of the tree, and if we blaze that branch there, that one there, see there?
Can you do that again, because the angle's a bit dodgy?
Yeah, okay. I'm blazing the tree here, marking the tree. These branches will go. They're upright ones. This one here is dead and dying, so he will go as well. If we look through the canopy there, there is a big upright branch, and I'll blaze him now. And maybe this big one over here. I won't do any more this time round, because to do more than a third of the tree is likely to shock it. So I'll take these three or four big branches out and see how it looks. Always better to take a few big branches out rather than mess around with lots of little ones.
just showing the size of the tree from over here before getting into cutting bits of it off.
So we saw the size and shape of the tree, and I will now try to reduce it. Initially, I'll use this little chainsaw. It's an electric one with a cord, which I wouldn't normally use, but my petrol one isn't working right now. It's at the chainsaw place getting fixed. The problem with this, of course, is you end up with a 240 volt electric wire all over the place. So it's essential to use a contact breaker for when you cut the wire. So if you fall out the tree, you just don't electrocute yourself at the same time. If you buy one of these little saws, they're really good for chopping up firewood. They have the same capacity as a petrol one with a 14-inch bar. If you do buy one, try and get one with an orange or yellow cable. This cable is black, so that's quite dangerous. But we're only doing a few cuts, so you know, we'll be all right, I hope. Another thing, of course, is that these electric ones don't make any noise. They're not very scary, unlike a petrol one, but of course they are just as dangerous. If we look at the floor, we look at these things on the floor, Sarah. These are other tools I might use. This is a rechargeable electric chainsaw under my foot there, which would be handy for bigger trees. Here's a pair of loppers there, pair of loppers. Here is a silky hand saw, Japanese, and this one here is a rechargeable reciprocating saw. We'll start off with the chainsaw to do the biggest ones and then see how we go. Sorry if I'm shouting, can't hear anything. So I'm going to take out that little dead piece first. And now a couple of these upright ones. And you probably saw then I do a couple of cuts because we don't want to just cut through the wood, because if the big branch goes over, it will tear the bark below the cut. So we do an undercut or do it in several pieces, so we take the weight away. Now I'm just going to remove these. I'm going to take this upright here out, so I'll undercut it and then come back from the other side. That should stop it tearing. So here we are. You can see the whole thing's greatly reduced. The sun will be able to get up on that bank now and get onto my panels. I've removed the big stuff with the chainsaw and the reciprocating saw. One other thing, if this was, say, a driveway and you didn't, it was sticking out somewhere, you wanted these branches to stop. Again, if you just cut them any old how, they would likely grow back again. But if we cut them back to downward facing fruit buds, see that one there, Sarah? See that fruit bud there? If we do this, if we do this to a downward facing fruit bud, that small branch will get a fruit at the end and will stop it growing. I recently had to prune some trees for some lady, and I said, yes, well madam, what would you like me to do? And she said, oh, I don't want these fruit trees to scratch my new Mercedes. So if you have a new Mercedes and you want to stop a branch, or for any other reason, prune it back to a downward facing fruit bud like this one, preferably on older wood, and they will get a fruit on the end and won't grow anymore. I will clean the wounds up of this tree in a bit.
How?
What?
How will you do that?
I'll get Sarah's little knife. I'll do it now. I will steal someone's little knife, nice and clean and shiny. If I can open it. And can you come in, Sarah? For example, with this cut here, I will then go round cutting the bark and the wood at 45 degrees, like I'm doing now. And if we do that, it means the wood will heal much quicker. If we just hack it off like this one here and leave it, see when I'm pointing the blade, if we left that like that, you always get a gap between the wood and the bark. It opens up and that crack becomes filled up with water, debris, rubbish, horrible little animals, and takes a long time to heal up. So again, if we get our little saw and par it over like I'm doing now, it naturally heals over much quicker.
I might suggest though that you use your own penknife rather than your girlfriend's.
Yeah, well, I can't find mine. I don't know. I've got hundreds of them. I don't know where they go. A final thing, really don't recommend using an electric saw up a tree, because you're concentrating what you're doing and the wire ends up all over the place, especially if it's a black one and you can't see it. That'll do for now. Thank you very much.